Does the end justify the means?
What are you, Batman?
You only live long enough. I mean, you either die a hero or you live long enough to.
you
Uh,
only you only live long enough. That's it. That's just a quote.
yeah, you only
Um,
die once, live twice from Russia with. Um,
with hero.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
But you know what? This clip kind of ties into what we're going to talk about today. Uh, uh,
Whoa, 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 whoa! What do you mean?
so
What are we gonna talk about today?
uh, Definitely not a hot take at all. The only cold takes here, but
Oh, cool takes.
cool
Cool
takes, yeah,
takes.
real cool takes.
Yeah.
But so recently, I mean, not recently, but I found out this recently. Yeah, I found out recently that apparently there is a big contention about civilians, or like non law enforcement, first responder, or military learning gunfights or like CQB tactics, and I thought that was really interesting. I didn't know it's been kind of like brewing in the background for a while, but I guess I just saw something recently where people were talking about like, yeah, we shouldn't teach civilians CQB, or rather not civilians. Like they were talking civilians, but I guess the idea is they don't want the information to go out. Um,
There's
and
actually a fact. There's actually a law out there that says that civilians aren't legally allowed to own Roland specials.
yeah, so only facts here on this channel. Yes,
Yeah, that's
100,
that's why the
100%. Yeah,
video is related.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, civilians aren't allowed to train or own
yeah.
sim guns and sim bolts, right? So, um, but
You either die as civilian or you live long enough to see yourself become the law enforcement.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's, that's kind of fitting. That kind of checks in the 2A community. Well, no, I thought it was you either die. Well, I guess you
That's
either die civilian or you live long enough to commit NFA felonies.
Yeah, that that would be like if we were in some kind of like sci-fi like movie plot where like in the future there's like authoritarian police and it's kind of like a join or die situation.
Yeah. Well, it's that, or it's like Starship Troopers, or it's like you don't
Oh
get full
yeah.
rights unless you do like public service, or
Whoa.
like you're right, like whereas like enlisting or doing like public service is like gets you more freedom and rights.
Listen,
So
this is why we have such a soft country nowadays. Everybody should be required to serve.
yeah, yeah, again, cold takes only here. So
Cool
but
takes.
cold takes, but yeah. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because it's like I never really thought about it, right? Like I'm all for like just people. If you want to learn, you should, and like how to operate guns, and then like obviously that's gun safety, but like to take it to the next level, like how to use your guns. It will be like because you see it all the time, right? Like I guess bad take is like it would be like somebody buying a super expensive car and not know how to drive clutch or a stick. Uh, I mean, you see it all the time, right? So it's like
Yeah,
I feel
of
like
course.
it's the same. Like it would be like if you buy guns and you have them, you should be able to train. But and then I think what do you think, right? Because it's like it is knowledge, and obviously there's no rule on what you can and can't learn. So and
Well, so like let's I think we should like clarify the two like sides of the argument first, right?
okay, yeah,
So like basically I think like there's one side where, you know, the people who know how to CQB and the people who actually it's funny because now that you typed in CQC, it's like what is the difference between CQC and CQB, I guess. It's like close quarter combat versus close quarter battle.
I don't know. I see it used like interchangeably, all the time. Like I don't really differentiate it. Like I don't know. It's like because like
Or is it like silencers and suppressors basically?
uh,
You
maybe.
know?
Well, but like if you, I mean, Wikipedia. That's what a good like source of information. But like they put CQC and CQB, right? So it's like, but if you had to differentiate it, like just by like semantics, I feel like maybe combat is like more close, like smaller scale, battle is bigger scale. So it's like CQC is what you do in a CQB situation, if that makes
But
sense.
you don't
Like,
you don't always CQB when you CQC.
no, you always CQC when you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
CQB, but you don't
That's
always,
what I'm saying.
yeah, you don't
Yeah,
always,
yeah.
yeah.
CQ, you don't, yeah,
You
you
don't
don't
always
always
CQC.
CQB when you CQC.
I mean, or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Like a Venn diagram. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't know, it's food fight in a in a
Uh,
chow hall at a CQB. So
Oh,
everyone,
definitely.
it's like in high
That's
school
actually how you.
cafeteria. You just that's how
That's
you
actually
get
how you
started.
start. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So basically, one side of the argument is that like the professional arena where you have these guys who are basically doing this for a living, right? You run guns, you breach doors, and like do all the CQB stuff, and that's like your job. And then basically like these are like I guess like the secrets or like the tricks of the trade, like this is like your and your life depends on it, right? So it's like you guys want essentially the effectiveness to remain kind of like gate kept. I don't really like using that word for this, but basically it's like, you guys want to have the knowledge for yourselves so that enemy combatants won't be able to like counteract your ability. And I guess some people might argue against that. So then like you have the people who are like, well, on the civilian side, it's like there's like very, I guess, like restricted or limited access in some ways. And this is the thing that's like the tough part because it's you can go out and learn this stuff, right? So like for example, back in the day GBRS was like putting a lot of information out on like their YouTube channel and stuff, and like I would say that some professionals would look at that and be like, "Hey, you're giving away, like
Giving the
our
answers to the
secrets,
test.
yeah, yeah. So it's like, come on, man, like, and so then like this, and so it's like now I think they put a bunch of their stuff behind a paywall, but to a certain degree, it's still like, oh, you just pay their whatever monthly Patreon thing, and then you can have access to like a lot of information. Granted, it's not the same as like attending a class and like being able to learn like firsthand with all the equipment and like basically getting as close in as possible, right? So like you know there's a lot of, I guess, like instruction and classes out there that basically restrict civilian access. So you can't sign up for a lot of these like law enforcement or military tactics classes because the classes, I mean, I can understand kind of like one reason why they kind of restrict that is because they want to actually teach people who are like using it for their daily stuff, because a class might have like, let's say 30 slots and maybe they only do like, I don't know, at maximum one class a month. That's like actually a pretty high rate for like an instructional school. Then like they don't want like just random people who are just interested in doing it for funsies to like fill up all the slots, and then like law enforcement or these guys can't get in the class to like learn good tactics to use for their daily like job. So then basically I can kind of understand that as an aspect, but it is also one of those things where people will argue like, well, why can't civilians like take this class and like learn this stuff? Like, why are you like actively like gatekeeping and blocking out civilians from being able to like learn this stuff? And so it is an interesting, I guess, like thought exercise, in terms of like whether you should be able to or not, because I can see both sides of the argument in the sense where it's like I think that civilians should be able to go out and sign up for classes and like learn how to do all this stuff, but at the same time I also think that to a certain degree, like you don't want our like techniques and secrets to like just be out there in the open for like terrorists and like bad people and like active shooters and stuff to be able to like use those tactics against the people who are trying to stop or mitigate these problems, right?
Yeah, I
Well,
think
that's CQB trainers, so cool.
yeah. Whoa. That would be no. This is CQB training right here. Oh, this guy right here. Yeah, yeah. You gotta poke people with sticks. That's real CQB training. But yeah, I think the problem comes down to like it's the age old question. I think if you really boil down, it's like fundamentally, it's like knowledge, right? Like a knowledge could be good or bad. Or knowledge is neutral. It's how you use the knowledge, right? So it's like I can make, for example, I can make chlorine gas with household chemicals, that I have. But am I going to do it? Obviously not. But somebody could, right? And vice versa, right? Like you can make drugs out of household chemicals, same, to
You
the
can
same
make
effect.
drugs out of. No, just kidding.
I mean, yeah, but like, I mean, it might be like kind of like extreme, but that is like when you really take that argument at extreme, anything could be it could be here's some tangent juice. I think I read about this a while back, but I think back in the day when like Cold War was happening, the government was like hey, like, is it possible to like for somebody to make nukes with like basically open source or whatever, like just without classified or like the secret and knowing how to make nukes? Can you make a nuke? So they hired two scientists. They weren't nuclear scientists at all. I think they were just like just smart people, right? And then they were like, here, make a nuke with like information you can gather, just like open source talking to people or reading. And I think
Mhm.
the takeaway is that you could like the information is out there. You have to look hard enough. So I think if you apply that to this scenario, it's like yeah, if terrorists really or active shooter whoever like really um has some of the answers or what the basically like CQB tactics, then you can work against it. It's kind of like I see it also like chess. Like if you know how your opponent is gonna open, that like you get a huge advantage on your play, right? Like I
This
mean,
this basically the plot to Mission Impossible.
yeah,
It's like
kind of. Actually, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, because like, okay, to put it for more of our viewers, or like, like the current generation video games, right? If you know what strategy your enemy is gonna use, like, you're at a huge advantage. Like, I will just set Nate. Like, if you know the terrorists are gonna are gonna rush short A, bro, just fucking spam nades on, short A dust too. Like it's same. That is my exact. That's my point. Like the crux of the argument. Like that's why you don't want people to know this. Right. And I think like yeah, because it's like, but how do you stop it though? Like because there's no laws, right? How do you unless and it would I think it would have to come down to the industry or the instructors to basically vet the people better, vet the students better, and but even then, it's like how the force of capitalism just makes it so somebody somewhere is going to offer it, or you're going to be able to find it hard enough. And you then, if you really Google it, you can find a lot of it. Like I'm pretty sure you can find like counterinsurgency manual. You can pretty sure you can find like the Army or Marines counterinsurgency manual somewhere
There
on the
is
internet.
there's like a ranger handbook or something like that
No,
out there, right? Like there's like some
yeah,
like like you can buy the literature for it's like certain military like unit training and stuff.
yeah, and
Uh
and
I
that
mean I
and
guess
that's too.
that's like
Sorry, go ahead.
isn't that the whole thing about like well, maybe I'm reading this in too deep. Like basically the whole like thing about like militias like getting together and like practicing like military stuff, and then like and then like ATF or FBI or whoever's like, hey, you can't do that, you know?
I mean, maybe. I mean, that's part of it, right? I could. I don't know. Like, I'm not into the big militia scene, but
We meet
I
under the bridge on every Thursday nights.
to
I
do
mean, what?
CQB
Yeah,
to
yeah,
practice
yeah.
CQB. Yeah, it's like
Anyone who's interested, just meet us there.
yeah, yeah. They're not cooking meth anymore. Like in the out in the forest, they're just actually practicing CQB in the abandoned
C-
warehouse.
CQB for meth heads is the new like cooking lab, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, yo, I'm gonna lab up, bro. Watch it. I'm gonna be able to slice this room way faster.
Oh man, I've been sober for like 9 months. Yeah, how you doing it? CQB, man.
And I think it boils also down to two different like avenues, right? I think when it comes to it, it's there's training and then there's knowledge, and both can be good or bad. Do you agree? Like, um, because like the way I
I
see it is,
mean, well, I guess like I can see the knowledge one, but the training one, I'm like not sure like I guess like why it's bad or like
well,
I mean,
because it's like knowledge you can use against, right? It's the same analogy
yeah.
like video game, chess, whatever, right? Knowledge you can find flaws and then use against, and like there's already there's like examples of why it's bad, but like at the end of the day, knowledge only gets you so far, and I think training like it makes it. Okay, this is gonna sound bad, but we're all gonna get it canceled anyways. But like, so like an active shooter scenario, I think like if active shooters were trained, imagine how much worse it would be, right?
Oh
Like,
man.
so like one example that comes to mind is like the Texas tower sniper. They call him a sniper, but he's not actually a sniper. But he was a Marine, right? So he was trained to shoot, like long distance marksmanship was it, I think like, and I think if I remember, don't quote me on this, but I think like one of his longest or like he did a shot at 500 yards, like a fatal shot at 500 yards. That's hard. That's impressive, right? Like I don't expect like that. For me, it's like that's actually kind of impressive. Taking a 500
Yeah,
yard
no,
fatal shot,
that's
right?
pretty good.
That's not
Yeah.
easy, right? With like adrenaline, like not, like basically a lot of thing going on. Like that takes practice to be able to do. Like not everybody, right? It's like that's why you have like shootings where it's like people like indiscriminately shoot into like you know I don't know, like a diner or something, and then like nobody gets shot, because like and right, like what are you more afraid of? Somebody that's just wildly blasting, indiscriminately, or somebody that's like taking their shot, like really like precise aim, right? That's shooting less. It's like
I don't know.
I
I kind of feel like both are super
no,
scary,
both
but
are
like,
scary as
but in
well.
their own way.
Well,
Yeah,
right, right,
yeah,
right, 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 right. But like,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I would like I like the odds of the guy randomly
yeah,
shooting slightly
yeah,
better,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
your
That's what I'm
odds
saying.
are like marginally better.
Right. Or it's like or the one where it's like they just have like no like concept of tactics or like training, right? So
Mhm.
it's like the other one that comes to mind is like the one that recently happened, the lose Puma Vans on the one,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
one where it's like the guy was using what like the sub 2000, but like okay, like when that active shooter got shot, like because you could see in the video, like they were just standing there out in the open, like with like wasn't taking cover, didn't have anything, right? Like at least the church tower sniper or the Texas tower sniper, like he knew he picked the high ground, right? He had cover, and like basically he made a last stand. Like there was tactics and like there was tactics and training, and that's why it was so bad.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? Like it takes
Yeah,
it, it's too. You're right. Like both obviously helps, and if you use both, that's a dangerous combination. But
yeah,
one doesn't always lead to the other. But you do need training as well, and that's where it's like. But training, I think that's where it is easier to vet, right? Because you have to be in person. That comes down to the industry to be like, hey, like maybe do a background check on some of the people. If you're
mhm,
gonna teach civilians, probably vet them harder, right? So
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. That's just part of my take away, I guess.
Your diatribe.
My diatribe, my soliloquy, my uh yeah, my monologue,
Yeah.
my exposition. All right, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I can't. I think it's like one of those things where maybe it's because like maybe because like it doesn't happen very often that like people who are doing bad invest the time to do bad, like in terms of like active shooter scenarios and like
Oh, 100%. Like I'm super
right.
grateful for that too. Right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
it's
But basically like I think it kind of like leads to a little bit of like a level of complacency
Mhm.
because like sometimes when I like participate as like op 4 for like law enforcement training, I feel like
Oh yeah, that's right.
they they kind of just like go like super lax to the point where it's like you really don't. I mean, if you're training for realistic scenarios and in the sense of like you actually don't care about pushing the limits, but you're more just like I just want to like actually mimic things that happen often, then essentially like you can have like anybody without any training with like a blue gun just run around and then just have the cops deal with it and it's no big deal. Whereas like I'm not going to say that I'm a CQB like master or anything, but it's like I do have some tactics. I am basically like mindful of that. And so, like, when we're running around and like basically doing those things, it kind of throws them for a loop because a lot of times they're not expecting to go up against people who have those kind of like tactics or training. And I think that sometimes they don't care enough to exploit that type of training, right? Like basically like a lot of times like they don't invest in like having people oppose them with like near peer like ability. So like here's like an example. There's basically a story about like some training that I heard about and basically there's like a department that went to go get training and the training facility was like, hey, you guys kind of should like upgrade your abilities because this like department's kind of from the middle of like bumfuck nowhere. And basically like they still had like I think pretty much like revolvers and like they had like
Yo, that's
maybe like
dangerous.
old like yeah, yeah, but like old, like they were running like old like like 60 lumen
Mhm.
surefire lights like in like today's modern times. And so then like, the department's like, yeah, it's fine. We're just
Oh.
gonna take your like training and like, we'll see where it goes, and they're like, okay. And like basically like the the people who are running up for like running like nods and like mod lights and like, basically like current like gunfighter tech, and so it was just like taking candy from a baby. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it was just like sad to like
Yeah.
watch. And like, I mean, even dialing back, like, okay, like op forward, don't use nods, like it was still just like overwhelming, like, I mean, bad. But it also gave the department a good perspective in the sense that like, you know, they understood like with some hard lessons that it's like, hey, you can't like just live in the past. You kind of have to like meet the modern like standards and like be able to fight at a near peer level. And like, right now we're seeing this with like the prevalent use of or the prevalence of commercial night vision and like basically techniques of people like using like cell phones that have like the cleaned IR filters where they can like see IR. So now like you can't just like run around with like active lasers on like pointed all around because we don't own the night anymore, right? So then like essentially what it means is that we have to develop new tactics to fight people who have similar abilities to us, right? So like a lot of times you don't expect this, but like if like military units are out there, like and they just assume that like the enemy is going to be wearing something else and not looking like them. But at the same time, anybody can go on Amazon and buy like a fake cry outfit that like is multicam and like basically from afar it would look like another dude, and multicam could be like a teammate, right? But then like what you don't know, it's like a threat, it's like a potential threat too. So then like basically it's like you can't just assume that like your enemies are all going to be wearing like a different type of like a specific type of garb, like I don't know, turbans or something like, you know what I mean? Like you can't
Yeah.
just assume that. You have to elevate your abilities. So that's why it's like a dumb argument to say, well, I'm just saying like as a perspective, like it's kind of a dumb argument to like say like, oh, we need to like keep this information like tight to us because ultimately if you're looking hard enough, you can find that information and you can like use it like for bad, right? And that means that ultimately you have to constantly evolve and come up with like new ways to combat what you guys know because it could be used against you, right? So I don't know. I think that's a kind of interesting perspective.
No, it is, and it's like it's and it's true, right? It's like you said with the police. It's the police scenario. You said they learned it the hard way, right? And that's kind
Hmm.
of the
Yeah.
crux of it, is that all CQB, it's like, or all the tactics and everything we do is learn the hard way, or learn through blood.
Yeah.
People, um, yeah, and again, technology has evolved. Like when we went to, like, Afghanistan or Iraq the first time, it's like they did the insurgents didn't realize that we could see them in the, not just like night vision, but we could see their heat signature, right? So like,
Uh,
but eventually they learned, it's like, oh, we need to cover that up because we have, thermal to see them. And so they, obviously, so they do evolve, right? So then we have to like learn that and figure it out. CQB, right? Like when you stack up, uh, what do we do when we, like, the first thing in, you try to clear a room, you stack up, and then so we take a lot of time, we make a lot of noise because, well, that's what happens, and then uh, over time, let's call them terrorists, but the bad guys learned that we do that. So a lot of times they would, like, oh, they hear or they know we're coming. They would just jump out the window or jump out the building and run around the side and shoot. So like, somebody in the back, yeah, it looks like he's posting rare security. So like, you have to post rare security. That's the whole point. That's why. Like, but it's like that's not something you like, you have to like train and learn through, basically, and somebody obviously learned the hard way, so, and that's why we do that now. And another example is when we were, like, in the this was like when the fighting was really bad and we were going room to room clear. I say we, like, like Marines, and then military were going, like, clearing terrorists out. Like, what we do is, like, we'd clear a room or clear a building, and then if there was contact, we would usually pull back and just call for, fire support, right? Either from, like, the IFV, or, like, just use indirect weapons like rockets or grenades. And the bad guys learned that, so that what would happen is, you would have somebody breach in, and then there would be somebody hiding right around the corner, either like low, or behind a door or through a hole or somewhere, where they would hit the first guy or first or second guy come in, and then somebody will run out, usually unarmed, and then grab, the injured marine or soldier, drag them inside. So what happens now? Well, now you have to go in because they know we were not going to leave anybody behind, and also we don't know what their condition is. So now you have to go in and clear, and that's really scary. And now they can, set up booby traps and whatnot. So now we're not just gonna, call a fucking, F-15 with a JDAM to level the building. And but that's kind of my point. It's that they learn from our tactics and our behavior, and they evolve, and so it, our it does get used against us, and you have to keep learning from that.
So that's why you have to revert back to your original tactics so that, they understand we don't negotiate with terrorists. It's like, sorry,
It's like,
buddy.
oh shit, they got
I'll
Smith,
see you in
and
the
it's like,
next
oh
life.
well, yeah, he's dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like that's kind of just the scary reality of it that I, I'm not. I understand, right? Like I'm all for, hey, if you want to learn, go learn, whatever, like freedom of speech and whatnot, all that good stuff. And I just don't care enough. But I also
Freedom of
understand
speech.
what.
Just thinking. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
uh, but like,
It's like totally unrelated.
what do you mean?
I
What do
mean,
you mean? Knowledge is freedom of speech. What do you
yeah,
mean?
you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
But like, yeah. So like, um, unless the government is going to step in and make like a law or rule about it, right? I'm all for it, but I do understand people's concern with it because there is like and that's why again the most current, right? So I'm hoping, I don't know, but I'm hoping what's being taught is all but basically mostly like retired or people that don't do it. So what they're taught is probably maybe what they were doing. So hopefully like currently the people that are in and doing it, have like new techniques, that isn't out there yet. Because it's like you when you did Force on Force, right? With SWAT, like they also don't want you to, like obviously go out and tell people what they're doing, right? Like they try to
Yeah.
keep it, they try
Yeah.
to keep it tight knit, right? Like they vet
Yeah.
the people. They're not just gonna be like, oh, this guy has multiple felonies, yeah, come in,
Yeah.
he's got armed robbery charges. It's like, oh, that's fine, I'm sure he's turned over a new leaf, yeah,
Yeah.
he can be a role player. So
I mean, to a certain degree, it is like there is vetting, but it's also like I didn't get a background check. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
before
yeah, yeah.
doing it, it was more just like oh, hey, this guy is a good guy, and this guy is a good guy. So it's more like vouching, like word of mouth. But yes, I
Yeah.
mean, you're
But it's
still to
still
some
slightly
degree, yeah,
more, yeah, than just
yeah,
like, oh, Joe Bob off the street, like anybody
yeah.
can, do it. But yeah, just yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a hot take that I think it's kind of interesting that I don't
Hey,
really think
hey, hey, hey,
what.
hey. Slow it down. Cool takes only.
You're right. Cool takes only. Slow your roll, Buster. Slow your roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool takes. Yeah, you're right. It's a real cool take. Um,
Yeah.
that yeah, I didn't really think about it until somebody brought it up. I'm like, huh. I mean, then it's like you
I'm
know,
curious to see like what people think about this. Like, put it in the comments. Like, I want to hear like your thoughts on this because basically it's like I know there's a lot of differing opinions out there, and I kind of feel like a majority of the people that listen to us are probably like on the civilian side. I'm guessing. I don't really know, but basically it's like I think that like like I want to hear like what people think because it's like I often see that as like the primary complaint. So I think like referencing like videos online where professionals get flack for talking about how like they'll basically just like bitch about how civilians will bitch about not being able to like take law enforcement classes, right? And then that leads to like the comment section just fucking going wild and basically just being like, you're infringing on our rights and like this and that. But then like, I was talking to a buddy about this and he was saying that it's like it's not an infringement on your rights because there's no actual law that says you can't legally learn CQB.
yeah, that's
But
freedom of
you know, it,
speech. Woo!
so it's just like basically a bunch of like essentially I don't want to call them sheepdogs, but like but they're gatekeeping, the
uh,
knowledge, right? Just
uh,
as a sheepdog would. I mean, like so so basically it's like the, the so like that information is being gate kept uh, from from civilians because you can't like go and take classes to train on this because like almost nobody teaches it or at least nobody worth a damn teaches it, right? Like like you were saying earlier, it's like there might be like some retired dudes who like push some pencils in the military who are like, I'm Dev Gru CAG, and come take my CQB class. I teach you,
Yes, yes, come take my knowledge over my dead body.
and then you're like watching John Wick later, and you're like, hey,
Yeah,
that's what I learned in class last week. So, it's like I I kind of like don't. I don't know. I want to hear what people think about this, basically.
yeah. I mean, like, because it's like, yeah, like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, video games, films, also like, I mean, take what you will, but there's always some truth in some of them. So, like,
Yeah,
we really wanted to learn, you know, especially as movies and
like act of
video games get
valor.
more realistic. It's like, yeah, probably not gonna learn much from like Commando, but
Wait, you mean I can't learn CQB from Steven Seagal?
oh my god. I mean, the only thing you can learn is that you can be a stable shooting platform. The bigger you are. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
pointless shoulder changes.
yeah, dude. Um, but yeah, and then when you do need to do hand to hand, you just cut to you just like time out, and then sub in a much fitter, stronger guy. And like, all
Yeah,
right, you fight him
yeah,
now, and then
yeah,
I'll take over after it's done. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I'm interested to see what the audience thinks about it. Do you think is it infringing on your rights? As a what is it? What are Caprine canine
Yeah.
or are you or is it just a bunch of ex law enforcement and military prima donnas wanting to be cool and special and like gatekeeping from all of you or all of us, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, that's this. Yeah.
Yeah, but who gatekeeps the gatekeepers, huh?
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah, that's right, that's right. Yeah, the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I saw something funny.
The the gray men. The gray men gatekeep the gatekeepers.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, yo, I had to do a double take on this. I thought this was like AI generated or like CG because these guys. I was like, holy shit, are they the same person?
Wait, always look for the hands. Look at the hands.
Uh,
Their hands look pretty good, I think.
no, 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 but like, just like they look
No, I
like
know, I know,
dude,
yeah,
when I
yeah.
first saw, it, I was like, what the fuck is that an AI generated or like a not
Dude,
real image?
obviously because they're brothers.
Hmm.
Brothers in
Yeah.
arms.
Oh, oh,
Dude, Ascent CQB. You got a mountain, an arrow, and a bald ego. You can't get cooler than that, man.
they have some cool names though, so it'll be funny. But yeah, um, yeah. I mean, again, cool takes only. So let us know
We
what you
just
think.
name we're just
Uh,
gonna name this one does not simply CQB.
oh, that's pretty good. I think we had a better one. No, no, no. I'll make the whole title. The whole title will be you either die a civilian or live long enough to
To become LE.
yeah, to become LE, so you can learn all the CQB and become a gatekeeper. No, no, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
you either die a civilian or live long enough to become a gatekeeper.
No, 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 no. You die a gray man.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh
Wait,
god.
wait, wait, wait. But aren't sheepdogs are usually referring to civilians, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
basically like guys. So then like basically
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you
So
either
you
die a
become a
sheepdog
sheepdog, or you become a, or no, you either
or
die
you
a
live
sheepdog,
long enough.
not to become a gatekeeper, because that's the whole
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So you either die a sheepdog or you live long enough to become a gatekeeper. Yes, that is true. So,
we're gonna be
well,
blacklisted from the internet.
yeah. I mean, nah, this is all fun talk, like sunshine and
Uh-huh.
rainbows. So,
Cool.
anyways, yeah. Comment down below for like all like 12 of you that watch this. So
Hey, a lot of those guys are super cool.
yeah,
It's like, I mean, like, especially who's the guy Robert who like always comments for the algorithm?
yeah,
But like,
appreciate that.
You know what I think is really funny is like I'm not sure, but like I think initially when he first started doing it, he
I thought he
really
was a
was just
bot.
doing it for
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
But
he was a
but
bot
then
because he
like
was like,
lately
yeah.
his comments have been more personalized.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah. No, so I thought he was a bot when he first started doing it. So I was like,
yeah,
whatever, just let him, let it like no, I see no harm in it. But then I was like, oh, he's
yeah,
a real person and he's a real like fan. Like I was like, oh, okay, like you know what?
yeah.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Also, hi Richard.
All right,
All right, all right.
all right. Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
here's the biggest
Oh,
lesson you need to learn in CQB.
okay.
Doesn't matter what you
Yep.
do, you just ought to look cool. There. That's the truth.
Yes.
That's why they're really mad about it. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't want you to realize that it's the tactics don't matter. Like they only teach you how to look cool. Like they don't want because if everybody can look cool, then they can't sell their Instagram, Patreon, OnlyFans because then it's like oh anybody can look cool. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, you're right.
Was it
You're
like
right.
the Dutch or the Norwegian, whichever one,
Oh, the
yeah,
DSI.
yeah,
DSI.
DSI, DSI, I don't know, police, I guess.
Uh, I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Look at that
Yeah.
swag. Look at
Yo,
that,
those
yo.
Tims.
Yeah, look. They just don't want you to realize how cool they can. Bro, it's like you have a full, yeah, you have a full
Wait,
Instagram full of this
scroll
shit.
down a little bit. You got a couple dudes with like the sneakers.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we
yeah, there
go.
you go. Like look at that grip. Like yeah,
Yeah.
look at these. Like, walking in line,
Yeah.
like how yeah. They just don't want you to
Yeah.
realize, how to look cool.
Too
Because
cool for
it's hard.
school.
You see it all the
Dude,
time. People that don't
dude,
look cool.
look at the one with the red circle and the arrow in the middle. Yeah, that one. Click
Yeah.
that one.
Yo,
Yo, look at those
yo! Oh my
leopard
god.
vans.
The three of them. Oh my god.
I think these guys like they plan it like
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
yo wear your sickest kicks to the next sick mish.
Yeah, but exactly. See, that's the secret. They don't want to get out. Like
That's
it's like.
actually funny because like I can't remember if we were talking about this a while back, but it's like like Gen Z is like
Mhm.
entering the workforce kind of
Yeah.
thing. So then like obviously they're infiltrating every aspect of society. So then like you'll have like a bunch of like SF dudes being like after they like complete a mission, they like flying back on the Black Hawk and they're just being like sick mish, bro. You know, like unironically.
Oh God. I don't think anybody. You know what? I don't think anybody says that.
Okay, look,
Oh,
I'm not, I don't know if I'm really supposed to say this, but I have heard from firsthand eyewitness accounts.
oh God.
It's okay. Let's end this on sick mish, bro.
Sick Mish, bro. Yeah.
Sick mish, bro.
Sick cast, bro. Sick Mish, bro.
Yeah. And then we dap.
Oh God. 360. 360 moonwalked out. Yep. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then a Fortnite default dance. Oh God. There we go. We just killed our. We just killed our. Cool. Now no one. There we go. That's how you counteract the cool take. Now no one would take us serious.
It has now become lukewarm take.
Yes. All right. All right. We're coming up for real.